homework. You're not going anywhere until you do your homework. That's what it sounds like in my house all summer long. As a parent with 3 kids, one in 6th grade, one in 7th grade, and one going into 10th grade, I've been doing this all summer long. Me and my wife have been doing this. That's what our house has sounded like for the past 5 or 6 years. Now, I realize theoretically I'm speaking to a college class, or my college class, so some of you may not be old enough to know what I'm talking about from a parent's point of view, but some of you might be young enough. You might have been victims of this ridiculous summer homework just a few years ago, so you may understand what I'm talking about from a child's point of view, although you're adults now. So in an effort to point out how detrimental an overloaded summer homework regimen can be, I'll give you a few points from a parent's perspective. So number one, I'll talk about what a parent's typical dream is, what we expect our children to do, what we want our children to do over the summer, our perfect summer version. I'll say, and then I'll jump into why I realize that's just a dream and what children are actually going to do over the summer if they are left to their own devices, and then bounce off of that into what educators want, why this summer homework came to be, why we're doing it, or a few reasons why, and why it might not be such a bad idea, and that's their dream. And then I'm going to give you a dose of reality for my last point, and I'm going to say why their dream may not be right either. I'll tell you what actually happens as a result of this overloaded summer homework regimen. So what do parents want? We want our children to go outside. We want them to play with their friends. We want them to build social skills. As a result of building social skills, they'll build teamwork skills, right? We want to take them to the beach. We want to take them camping. We want to go on vacation. Maybe they'll learn something about another culture, something they can't learn around here, right? So, and some parents may want, or some parents may need, depending on maybe 2 parents' work, they may need to take have their kids go to summer camp, which could take probably 10 hours a day, 5 days a week, maybe more, right? So a lot of their time is being taken up. No time for summer homework. So that's what we want. We want them to go outside, see the world, go ride bikes. This is what we want. What actually happens, if you're a parent yourself, you know this. If you're young enough that you can see this from a child's point of view, let's say late teens, early 20s, you probably are guilty of this yourself. What children do when they're left to their own devices. I pass them all the time in the living room. I don't even know they're there. They're just all thumbs, and I tell them they're turning into zombies. I'll tell them they're melting their brain. That's just that's the way I look at it. So when you think about what they actually do, you kind of see the point. Well, okay, so there needs to be a regimen in place. Maybe summer homework's not such a bad idea, right? So I can go in and say, hey, listen, guys, put your phones down, or put your tablets down, or whatever it is, and let's go work on that math packet or your reading assignment, right? So that's what educators want now, right? So maybe giving them something to stimulate their brain, something. Well, what teachers refer to. My wife's a teacher, so her and her friends talk about this all the time. Something that they call the summer slide, where from say June to September, or whatever your summer happens to be, skills that were learned throughout the year tend to kind of slide off, or we lose them. But children will lose some of the skills, and not if they don't do them every day, they tend to drop off. And come September now, everybody has to play catch up. It's common, it's everywhere. So that's a good reason, right? Why teachers, in their perfect world, they say, all right, well, let's try to combat that. Let's try to get rid of that summer slide, and let's give this math packet or this reading assignment. So this way, in September, we won't have to quite play catch up so much, and we'll just get right into learning the new material. So it's not a bad idea. Now the problem with this is, and why it may not be such a great idea, is kids don't look at the summer they look at it as freedom, and let's go play, and let's go do this. So when parents, they have no interest. They have no vested interest. They didn't buy into this. They didn't ask for it, right? So it's not their idea. So who's going to just go and take their let's go get my backpack now in August and sit down and do a math pack? And nobody's going to do that on their own. So who's going to make them do it? I'm going to make them do it. My wife's going to make them do it. And we make them do it. We don't agree with it at all, but we make them do it. So what actually happens is we become the homework police. And this is what happens as I started off. Do your homework. You're not going anywhere until you do your homework. We lose days of summer just telling them to do their homework. And without them doing it. We lose days. We lose time. All right, so that's what happens now. Kids don't want to do it. They become apprehensive about anything school related now because of this. So this is what happens. We lose time with our children. Days, as I said, days just telling them to do it, and then more days when they actually do it. Right, so that's time lost with it, and that's their time lost with their friends or their family. Right, this is summertime lost. So that's what actually happens. So, just to wrap this up, listen, we talked about what we expect, and I kind of told you why it doesn't really happen, right? What parents expect, what we want, our perfect world, and then kind of bounced into why it doesn't really work like that. I understand, and I explained a little bit about the educator's perfect world, what they think, why this all happened. And then, the loss of time. It doesn't work. So the great summer debate is yes to homework or no to summer homework. I'm going to go with no. Let's keep the homework throughout the school year, please. And then, nobody can argue this. The great Nat King Cole said it himself, right? Roll out those lazy, hazy, crazy days of summer. That's how I feel.